Hi guys, it's Ray from Ray's Turquoise Turtle. Today I'm going to do another quick home sign. I have a package of cotton pods from the Dollar Tree. Comes in a 4-pack. I'm going to use 3. So I'm going to eliminate 1. If I can get them apart. I'll save that one for another project. I have this floral pick also from the Dollar Tree. I just want some of the greens off of this. I will save the rest of this for another project. I just want these pieces for this one. I have a metal home sign from Dollar Tree. Set that aside. And I have this wood plank pallet sign from Walmart that was $2.54. I normally use pine, but I just wanted to do something different. So I'm using a couple of these this week. I'm going to use SEAPAINTS Secrets to paint everything. Put that stuff aside and bring this in. I'm going to base coat it with Vintage Secret, which is a black. And these are from SEAPAINTS. I will put the link in the bottom. So first I'm going to paint this whole thing black. These have great coverage. They dry super fast. They're totally organic mineral paints. Completely safe. The Secrets are a thinner consistency, so they dry like super duper quick. It's actually cool in here and this is drying. I mean, can you see how fast it's drying? And I'm going to distress this back down, so I'm just going to give it one coat. The handles on these get in the way and they drive me a little bit nutty. But I don't have staples that are thin enough, short enough to get through there. So I just leave it on and work around it and try not to paint it too much. So get your edges. It's up to you if you want to paint the back or not. I don't typically paint the back of my projects. I just don't worry about it that much. So I'm going to set that aside a second. I'm going to use my Ryobi hot glue gun for part of this. So I'm going to turn that on quick. I'm just going to set that out of the way. I should have turned my glue gun on when I started. That's probably what's going to take the absolute longest. So while that warms up a minute, I'm going to show you the other 2 colors I'm going to use, Calypso Secret and Paradise Secret. So I'm just going to squirt a little bit of them on my plate just to be ready. And then move on to the next step. My glue gun should heat up fairly quickly, hopefully. And this is the brush I'm going to use for those 2 colors. So I'm going to bring these back in. And this is already dry on my hand, so, and it'll wash right off. So I'm not going to worry about touching this stuff before I wash my hands. These do have metal stems, so I'm just going to work from those. You will pretty much always see me when I'm embellishing something like this use 3 of something. I am a firm believer of the rule of 3. I just find it to be much more pleasing to the eye overall, and it's just my preference. And I may bring an extra pod back in to put at the bottom corner. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, this is just a little piece of greenery from another Dollar Tree set. So I think I'm going to actually use that on this one. And I'm going to bring this one in and this one into the bottom. And that'll be it for these. So I'm going to take a couple little pieces of the stem of the cotton pod, the metal, and wrap it around. Just to like hold it in place for a minute. Until the glue is ready. I'm going to test that quick. Not quite. But that is how that will look. I'm going to trim off. This is a wired stem on this one, so there. So that'll be that. And I'm just going to, now I know I just mentioned the rule of 3. 1 is fine, 5 is fine. Basically anything that's odd numbers will work fine under that rule. 3, 5, 7, depending on how large your embellishments are. Just stick to the odd numbers. It's something that a lot of people struggle with, is that kind of placement and positioning. And it's just something I learned a long time ago. So, my glue gun is warm enough to do this part, I think. So I'm just going to fold the greens back a bit. And put a little bit of glue on the back sides. This is just to kind of hold them together for a minute. This Ryobi glue gun gets super hot, so if you're working with one of those, be careful. Try not to stick your fingers directly in the fresh hot glue. So I'm going to let that sit and dry a minute. I'm going to glue this little bit to the back of this one. And I'm going to let those sit for a minute. I'm going to leave my glue gun on because I'm going to need it. I'm going to bring my board back in. This is completely dry. And I am going to go ahead and start bringing in my color. Just dipping my brush in. Brush it on. And I'm not using a separate brush for these two colors. I'm okay with them blending and mixing. Pick two colors that look beautiful side by side. Now on the last one of these, you saw me bring the color back down with a baby wipe. For this one, I'm going to use the glass cleaner method. So I will show you that in a couple seconds. I just want a little bit more of that darker color. I'm just gently brushing this on. I'm not pushing, and I'm just going to dust the edges with whatever's left on the brush. And I'm going to give that about 2 seconds to dry. I'm going to cap my paints over here. Get them out of the way. Like I said, it's a little cooler in here today, so this is going to take a couple of seconds. It shouldn't take too long. Trying to get a baby wipe out of the container to wipe my hands out quick. Cleanup with SEAPAINTS is super simple. I do have a paper under here today, but a lot of the time I just work right on my table and wipe it right back off with a baby wipe when I'm done. They do have a line of sealers. I won't be using any on this particular project, but they call those their sea glasses. Some of them are colored, some of them are clears. I can't reach one right now to show you. But I have a tiny bit that's not dry yet. Just kind of over here fanning it in front of the heater a little bit, trying to encourage it to dry the rest of the way. Okay, so I have one little teeny spot here that's not quite dry, but not worried about that. I do still have my hot glue gun plugged in over here. I'm just going to grab a regular paper towel. A thicker shop towel would be better, but I don't have any in here. And I'm just going to spritz a little bit of glass cleaner on here, Windex, whatever you have handy, and I am going to wipe it across the top. And you will see that black from the base coming back through. I am putting hardly any pressure on here, just gently wiping. If you want to apply a little more pressure to your edges, if you want to bring it back down to some of that brown that was originally under here, that's cool too. Just stress it as little or as much as you want. If you're new to a technique like this and you take it too far, go back over the top when it's dry. And you can bring that color right back. These planks, what I do like about them is they are raised in areas, so you get a cool effect with this type of technique. They're not great for stenciling, which is why I chose to use the galvanized words for this project. But that is it. Look at that gorgeous weathered sign. So I'm going to come back in with my home sign. I am going to use the Gorilla Clear Glue, and I'm just going to run a bead around it. On the last one, I used the hot glue to tack it as well, and I may do that again just because I want you to be able to see the end result without having to wait for the Gorilla Glue to dry. So I'm going to grab my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to in a couple of spots, and this is actually Gorilla Hot Glue sticks in here, so I'm just going to go along over top of, next to. You can see how hot this glue is. I'm going to bring my sign back down, flip my word over, being careful not to touch any of that hot glue, get it centered how I want it, and press it down. Any little hot glue bits you can clean up later. And I'm going to come in with my greenery, and I think I'm going to put it this way so the greens are hanging off the edge. I don't want to put the glue on here. I'm going to put it right on the corner just because it is very hot, and I'm going to use quite a bit because I do want this to hold. So put that on, get your greens where you want them, and now I have to decide if I want this one down here in the corner or not. And I think if I can flatten it out a little bit more, I would like it. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and go for it. I'm going to put this one right in the crook here. I'm going to put a big blob of glue here and a little run across there. And I'm going to hold that in place. This one I have to hold in place for a second just because it's not flat. I'm just going to wipe this glue string off of here. If you don't work with hot glue a whole lot and you get those strings, a hack is to hit it with a blow dryer. It'll melt those strings back off. So, that is it. This is done. 15 minutes and 59 seconds, 16 minutes now for a complete start to finish project using SEAPAINTS, a couple of things from the Dollar Tree, and a plank from Walmart. This is under $5 total by the time you factor in the little bit of paint you used. So, I hope you like it. I think this one's gorgeous. This one might have to stay with me. But, thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe and like. I'd appreciate it.